So you may have spent 2 years in discovery and pretrial proceedings and then 2 weeks in trial with a jury voir dire and opening statements and courtroom testimony and a jury charge conference and closing arguments, and then finally the jury comes back with a verdict in your favor. You might think the case is over and that you've won. There's definitely a cathartic moment in prevailing in the verdict, but that does not mean the case is over. There are several motions to be filed and actions required by court before the trial court proceedings come to an end. At the very least, the judge will need to enter a judgment. This typically takes several weeks and sometimes longer. However, there are a variety of other issues that may require post-trial briefing and motions. It's possible that there may be conflicting jury answers. Jury instructions are usually successfully designed to avoid this, but sometimes jurors ignore the instructions or there might be an unanticipated conflict between two different questions. If this happens, the court may need the parties to submit briefing or motions on how to resolve the conflict when entering the judgment. If the claims permit the award of attorney's fees, this issue is sometimes reserved for post-trial proceedings. The jury may enter an award of fees, but in many cases, the ultimate decision on reasonable and necessary attorney's fees is reserved for the trial judge's decision. If that's the case, the parties will usually submit evidence and briefing for the court's decision on what, if any, attorney's fees should be included in the judgment. Some cases involve a request for an injunction in addition to or instead of damages. For example, for a misappropriation of trade secret claim, the claimant will usually request a permanent injunction prohibiting further use or disclosure of the trade secret. The jury may be asked some questions about such a claim, such as whether or not there really is a trade secret or if the defendant misappropriated it. However, the decision to issue an injunction is up to the trial judge as an equitable remedy. In such case, the parties will typically submit post-trial briefing regarding how the injunction should be framed in the judgment. A JNOV is a motion asking the court to grant the losing party judgment notwithstanding the verdict. A motion to disregard a jury finding is a similar request that the court disregard some part of the jury's decision. For example, if one party claims that there was legally insufficient evidence, called less than a scintilla, to support a necessary element of a claim, the claim fails as a matter of law. Alternatively, if the evidence conclusively establishes that there's an affirmative defense, such as the expiration of the statute of limitations, then the court might grant a JNOV against the party that prevailed in the jury verdict. A JNOV might even be filed after the court enters its judgment, although some practitioners prefer to file a JNOV before judgment so the court is alerted to the issue as the court enters judgment. After the judgment, it is common for the losing party to file a motion for new trial. If the verdict is mixed, both parties might file partial motions for new trial. Typically, this motion argues that the evidence was factually insufficient to support the verdict, which means that there might have been a scintilla of evidence, but the weight of the evidence is overwhelmingly against the verdict and the court should reject the decision and order the case be tried again. The motion for new trial is required to preserve certain arguments for appeal and also serves to extend the deadline to file an appeal. Therefore, these motions are often filed as a matter of routine. If the trial judge does not make an express ruling on the motion for new trial, it is automatically overruled by operation of law 75 days after the judgment. So it is possible that a jury verdict may effectively put an end to a lawsuit, but there are a number of post-trial events that will need to take place before the trial court proceedings are formally terminated. Litigation requires patience, and our trial judges, who work hard to move their cases to completion, are typically burdened by a large and demanding workload. The post-trial motions and briefings are designed to ensure that the judgment of the court is accurate and conforms to the law and to the facts.